Season 2, same pod, new look.
Who dis? Same pod, now with video.
We're at a table.
In the studio, still.
We have these arms, we have lights. We're at the studio, we're still at Local Legend.
We have blackout curtains. That's where we used to record. Over there.
Yeah, and the sun is rising.
Uh-huh.
So you shall see it rise.
Yeah. It's a little cloudy today. But, yeah.
Let's get this show on the road.
Okay. Oh, Susan.
BRB. Let's try that again.
I just want 5 minutes of you like fricking around with a chair.
Trying to get cozy here.
That'd be funny.
Aren't we all just trying to get a little cozy?
Aren't we all?
You know what I'm saying?
Aren't we all?
Right, babers? Cozy's her word.
Yeah.
Amanda's word.
Love it.
I don't think I've ever used it until I met her. And now I overuse it.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
Season 2.
Here we are.
So this will be posting after the holidays.
Yep.
So
Das Holidays.
yeah. Merry Chrysler. Happy Christmas, everyone.
Merry Chrysler.
And yeah, we hope you all had a good holiday.
Uh-huh.
I feel like I should address you guys if I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope it was restful for you. I hope you got. Oh, this is funny.
Hope you got everything on your Christmas list.
Yeah. I was gonna say, Amanda. So we were at her parents' house last night, and we were going through like old like artwork and like stuff her mom was gonna get rid of, and she wanted like the kids to kind of make sure that they didn't want to keep it or whatever.
Okay.
And we go through, and there was a year. I think Amanda was in 2nd grade, and she had like written like Christmas letters to everyone and like colored on them and like crafted the letters. And she was writing like poems, and they were all like roses are red, violets are blue, and then like the end like and it was like over and over. It was so funny. But every one of them was like, I hope you get everything you want for Christmas. And
awesome.
She was like, I love how it was always about like what you want for Christmas. It was, and then there was like one that mentioned Jesus, and like it was just funny because she's 2nd grade.
Right.
We were laughing about that
hilarious.
last night.
That's funny.
So I hope you guys got everything you wanted for Christmas.
Roses are red.
And I also hope that it was a good time to remember Jesus and his birth into human form. We've got a lot of exciting new news for Season 2, as we've been alluding to for the last 10 episodes.
Yeah.
We've got big plans, but things are moving, guys. And
Welcome
to Season 2.
If you're a new listener, if you're a returning listener, we have video now, like we said earlier.
We have video.
We're here. Hi.
And
hey, how's it going?
Like we said earlier, we're the same podcast with a new look. We've kind of been thinking about our mission statement a little bit more too.
Also, contrary to popular belief, we actually do drink coffee on this here podcast.
I haven't taken a sip yet. It's like one of those memes where like somebody always goes.
It's actually
to
just
drink.
water. These are just half full with water in them. Also, my throat is sore today, so that's why I sound
like you're going through puberty.
Yep.
Come on, Cole.
I wasn't gonna say that, but
I went there. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm feeling frisky this morning.
Yeah, Nate is. He was up at 4 a.m. today. He is.
Real life conversations around faith and doubt until it's gone. So we just wanted to kind of define a little bit, what our goals are with this. Starting out, this was honestly not even meant to necessarily be a Christian religious podcast.
Yeah.
Obviously, Cole and I are both Christians. And that's important to us. And is involved with the conversations we have. This podcast is modeled after genuine coffee conversations that you and I would have at
and have had and continue to have.
Yeah, at coffee shops and the like.
Yep.
But we wanted to kind of just think about, like, into season 2, what do we want our conversations to continue to look like as we grow, as we have different guests on, as we try to reach new audiences, as we think about growth, not in a way that this is going to really change in terms of, you know, what you guys should expect from us in terms of content. The heart and the content. Yeah. But more just as we think to how do we steward what we've been given best. Yeah. So,
and we see the value in bringing other people into the conversations that Nate and I have had. It's encouraging to already throughout season 1. I have had people reach out to us and be really encouraged by this, and it's super humbling and very, very cool. And we want to continue to do that. And something that I think is in our intro, I should know because we recorded it, but it was in our intro for season 1, is creating community. And I think that the addition of video will further that. And that is a big reason why we're doing video, as well as so you can see us, because I'm sure that there's people that have no idea what we look like. So surprise if your expectations weren't met.
Hey. You get what you get and you don't throw a fit.
Hey, now. As well as what's really crazy is December 13th was the first episode last year, and it is December 12th when we're recording this. We got a jump start because this is coming out in January, but it is almost a year to the day that we released the very first season 1 episode.
That we released it or recorded it?
That we released it.
Wow.
Because we recorded it, I think, in like November or something and sat on it.
So today is Planty's birthday. Tomorrow.
Can we get shirts with a little plant?
And that would actually kind of be
1 year old.
Yeah, just like a plant character with a diaper on it.
Almost like
just a little one in the middle.
It's like a off-brand, like Groot.
That's so funny. Yeah, just baby Groot.
Yeah.
I love that. So we've intentionally left things a bit vague in our new mission statement because we do want to see this develop naturally. Cole and I were talking, you know, obviously we've had a lot of like-minded people on the podcast up until this point, but even just thinking about what does it look like to bring somebody that might not necessarily be a Christian or maybe disagree with us about some things, and not to like get into like the weeds on stuff and argue with people and all that stuff, but to genuinely have conversations. And
because it's kind of a lost art to have conversations like that where something as important that you center your life around, i.e. religion, politics, you know, wherever you want to go with, like, to be able to have conversations with people on differing eye lines and to be able to be able to disagree and still have civil conversations, I think is a little bit of a lost art in culture today.
Yeah, for sure. Did I lose you or something?
Yeah, I lost. Check.
Oh no, Jeffrey.
Susan.
So real life conversations, that part obviously is the authenticity that we've genuinely tried to uphold, that we're not trying to put on this like facade or show for you guys about who we are or that we're perfect, but that we're genuinely trying to talk about things we struggle with or we're working through in our own hearts and minds,
and go first in that whole thing, in vulnerability and what we're learning. Yeah, we don't have it all together.
Yeah, and then the around faith and doubt is intentionally not just like we only talk about faith, but it's just around our faith and doubt, which is something that we probably do share with unbelievers. We share in doubts. Absolutely. We don't share the same conclusions about our doubts, but
there's hope on the other side of those.
But I think something that turns off a lot of people that are genuinely doubting is Christians pretend like they don't. like that you've never questioned God, or that you've
Right.
never thought about, the questions that sometimes keep people from faith.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, that's good.
and then semicolon until it's gone.
Until it's gone. Sticking true. Stay in the course.
Yeah. So for those who didn't hear that initial explanation, until it's gone, obviously, until the coffee's gone, is the practical
Cut
use.
off.
Yeah, we pour coffee and we talk until our coffee's gone.
Because we could be here for a whole day.
Exactly. You guys know that. And the other side that's a little deeper is that's helpful to think about in terms of our lives, because we don't have forever. And not to say that this podcast will run for the rest of eternity, or our life
it's gonna be played in heaven for sure.
well, or our life on earth. But the idea is that we're keeping in mind our endpoint, and that helps us to interact with
The day
today.
to day.
Yeah. So that's just a bit of a recap for those who might have missed our initial explanation. If you're jumping in and you haven't,
Yeah, welcome to the deep
Met
end
us.
of the pool.
yeah, yeah, we're just jumping in 12 feet,
We're not hanging out with our ankles in the shallow water.
no swimming lessons, just being thrown in by Uncle Joe.
Bro. Jeffrey. So if you want to make your friends laugh, when they call you, call them a random name. That's what I've been doing to Nate lately. It was the other day. I don't know what possessed me to do this, but I think it's hilarious. Nate will call me, and because we have frequent phone calls, and Nate will call me, and I'll be like, the first one was, "Hey Jeffrey," but it's so awesome, and you can just Frank, Bob,
You
George,
said-
Ronald,
You
Roger.
you called me Jeffrey, Donald, and then I can't remember the third
Roger.
one. Roger. It's like, oh my gosh.
I thought of one the other day. Sylvester.
What's up, Sly?
What's up, dude?
Anyways,
Edward.
so yeah, do that. If your humor is dumb like ours. So welcome to those who have been along with us for season 1. Welcome back. And for those who are just joining us, welcome to Until It's Gone.
Yeah, we are.
We have, other than just video, other than kind of a new mission statement and kind of refining, we're going to be releasing these on YouTube now.
Yep.
So what's up, YouTube? Welcome.
Hey.
Traditionally, these have just been posted on Spotify and Apple without notice every other week. But we're going to try and post more on YouTube as well. Potentially do some shorts and like reels
and play Minecraft
from stuff. Maybe play some Minecraft if we get there.
Or Smash.
Just again, try to foster that community, have those real life conversations, and just be a place that people can go to maybe experience some of that community.
For those listening on Spotify, Spotify does have a built-in video player, which will be the same video that we upload to YouTube. So you can watch the podcast directly inside of Spotify if you choose to do so. Otherwise, head over to our YouTube channel, uig.podcast, same as our Instagram handle. Subscribe, click the bell so you'll be notified of episodes. But yeah, that's a cool feature that Spotify has. If you don't see it, it could be a setting that you have toggled off because it'll use more data, of course, for when you're on cellular. But it is inside of Spotify. So,
and you can you can go back and forth too. You can lock your screen and walk, and it still plays.
Yeah.
So that's an avid, and if you don't have
that
YouTube
is
Red,
nice. Yep.
YouTube tries to nickel and dime you for that feature.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Yeah, and Spotify, you can watch the show and then press lock and then mow the lawn, and and the episode doesn't stop. So
yep, true.
Yeah, not that I really like Spotify, anyways, but that's cool that they do that.
That's besides the point.
Yeah. So yeah, more YouTube.
Yeah.
We're going to be trying to just kind of think about how we can grow this. Again,
Mhm.
it's going to start organically, but we're going to try and figure out how we can reach new people and just get the word out about what we're doing. Along with that, a big part of that will be having different guests on.
Yep.
That will be, hopefully drawing in different types of people and diverse audiences.
Yeah.
So Yeah, we're going to really make an effort to have a guest a lot more this season. I think that was a really good test for season 1.
Absolutely.
We got a lot of really good feedback.
Yeah, you guys loved it.
Really
And
good.
We did too.
Yeah, really great conversations. And then that's also helpful for Cole and I because it's not all on us and you don't just have to hear us every time.
Well, and yeah, like I think there's endless things that you and I can talk about, but to be able to just bring someone else in and to hear their perspective and then to take our silly minds and then challenge them or like bounce things off of them, like that's more interesting for us as well.
Yeah.
Not that us having a conversation like
Yeah,
we are
you're
right
boring.
now. Yeah, it's just I'm gonna leave.
Yeah.
But we enjoy that a lot because we grow. I think about all of the guest episodes and how much it's challenged and humbled and grown me in multiple different areas of my faith personally. Like it's awesome. It's really cool.
And I think it really does continue to foster that community as well.
Yeah. And you'll get to see what those people look like too.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll figure out the cameras. But along that lines,
should we talk about this?
Yeah. Along that lines, if you have any guest recommendations, topic recommendations for season 2, we really, really want to hear from you. So uig.podcast, same handle as everything, @gmail.com. Shoot us an email. We'll get to it some month of the year. And if you have a guest recommendation, feel free to just give us your pitch. Tell us why you think that they'd be a good conversation. And we're so open to that. Yeah.
Yep.
So I think that should go without saying, I guess, but
absolutely,
we want to continue to invite you. That I think in our intro, there'll be a section of that, or outro maybe.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, and yeah, send us guest recommendations, but also if you have questions, concerns, if you disagree, if you thought that there was something that was challenging, we want to hear all of it.
Yeah, we might not like type back at you. But we might. Well, we're
not going to argue
feedback
with you, of course, and we just really want to. We value what you guys think and what you have to say. So,
but we will consider what you have to say. So,
yeah, absolutely. Of course.
So probably the most exciting thing about season 2.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I would say like between video and that, I think the most exciting thing is we are now sponsored officially by.
There'll be confetti. I'll edit in confetti and air. Yeah. The kids. Yeah,
exactly.
Yep. We're sponsored.
So yeah, which is so exciting. That our little podcast is able to provide some value for our sponsor. So Cole, do you want to introduce?
I would love to. So we are sponsored by Quickwater Coffee.
I think the bag might be blown out from this angle, but
it's okay. I think I'll be able to recover it, actually.
All right. So maybe I spoke too soon, guys.
It's okay. It's okay. But yes, Quickwater Coffee, just so cool. The connection through Kirk Behrens, and we had Kirk on this podcast. Go check out his episode. But Kirk connected me with Steven, and Steven is the owner of Quickwater, along with his wife, Melissa. But just through conversations with them and getting to know them, I connected with Steven. It was springtime this year. So springtime 2022. And just him and I had intentional conversations like we would on the podcast. Just over coffee and over brainstorming stuff.
Well,
like
you were doing some videos for their launch.
Yes.
And that was kind of how you
initially.
So,
that was one of the things that was initially on the table. And I've just been able to build a relationship with him since. But him and his wife, Melissa, have opened Quickwater Coffee. It is a actual brick and mortar coffee store downtown Rockford, right across from the dam. And it's so awesome. It's so quaint and still kind of hidden because they just open and it's kind of like tucked away.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Right along the river.
Yeah. Right on the river. They have outdoor seating. It's super cool. So through a lot of conversation with Steven, I shot some videos for they're opening for Quickwater, just some quick explainer videos of Steven talking to the camera and all of that. But yeah, it's been super cool to just connect with him, and then approaching him with this idea of, hey, we love Quickwater, so do you want to partner with us in our conversations, as well as we want to shine some light on you guys because we believe in what you're doing. They're just amazing people.
Yeah, and there's a few coffee shops in Rockford. There's not to poop on the other coffee shops that are in Rockford, but
I
there's
worked
not
at one of the other ones.
There's not a coffee shop like Quickwater in Rockford where it's like the craft and the standard of coffee roasting and going through the process. All the other shops are a little bit more coffee and plus, which isn't a bad thing, but you can take that as they're more specialized in, like, if you're used to your Madcaps or your like other like really, I shouldn't have shouted them out, but whatever I did.
No,
like really, like the high end kind of coffee culture, then Quickwater is definitely like there for you. So there wasn't a place like that north that I'm aware of, at least.
No. And Steven, one of the things that Quickwater does different for the people coming in is they air roast the coffee. So it's different than drum roasting. It's almost, I was talking to Steven about this. I go in there almost every weekend and talk to Steven, and he brings me samples, and I love it. It's amazing. But he was talking about air roasting, and he has an air roaster, and that's how they roast all of their beans. But air roasting, it's almost impossible to burn the coffee beans, unlike drum roasting, because drum roasting roasts the beans with actual contact. It's heated inside of the drum. It's almost like a dryer, essentially.
Right.
It spins and it moves the coffee. But your main concern when you're drum roasting coffee is just don't burn it. And it's almost, like I said, it's almost impossible to do that. Air roasting, it would just take a lot longer to do that. But they roast all of their coffee air roasting, and it also it doesn't have the same amount of chaff. It doesn't have that over roasted or burnt flavor, even if it was to get up towards that.
It's even if it was a dark roast, it won't taste burnt.
Exactly.
It won't taste like Starbucks at Starbucks burnt coffee.
Right. It still will probably have some clarity to it. So yeah, they're open Tuesday through Sunday, 8 to 4, and Sunday 1 to 4. But they are fantastic. We are so happy and proud of Quickwater and Steven and Melissa and their family and the kiddos to be able to bring that into the Rockford community. They're super excited to be here, and we're excited to have them in Rockford. Like, it's 30 seconds from my house. So
yeah, I love it. And this was kind of an unexpected thing. Like we told you guys at the beginning, like, we started this podcast, and we wanted it to be a good podcast, and we wanted it to reach new audiences and grow. But we didn't have a business plan. This is just, like we said, like this is just as much for us, especially starting out, as it is for you guys. And so it's cool to see this kind of develop naturally as we've grown and as we've seen an opportunity to partner with Quickwater. And we're proud to say that we have a sponsorship that wants to foster, a sponsor that wants to foster these types of conversations.
Right.
And that's more meaningful to us than anything else too.
Absolutely.
Like, we're not just trying to,
just get sponsored
sell
for the
out.
sake of getting sponsored.
Exactly. Like, to try, like, it'd be awesome to be able to do this for a living, but like, we're not trying to just get whatever sponsors come our way just to make money on this. We're trying to, like we've kind of clarified, foster a real community. And so it was really cool to see that. And their sponsorship, Steven, thank you. It helps us continue to do this, because it takes the burden off of us to pay for all the equipment and the time and
then
the
to pay
coffee,
for coffee on top of it.
And so we're going to be drinking Quickwater coffee for season 2. So we highly encourage. This is amazing. I mean, it's very, very good. This is Zambia. The notes are Tootsie Roll dried fruit. We highly recommend it. We're drinking it. We love it. We're going to be drinking it.
Super good.
pour over
Mm-hmm.
as always.
Classic.
So cheers to season 2.
Amen.
Cheers to Quickwater. Thank
Amen.
you, Steven.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Steven.
Quickwater team. We're excited to grow with you guys and to see,
serve with you guys.
Yeah. So anyways, man,
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of a lot of information for you guys.
Yeah. Now we can actually start. No, I'm kidding.
So now the intro.
And we'll just cut right now.
Yeah. So we're kind of looking to the new year. We're looking to, these conversations. We're just looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're just like, we've kind of set the table and now we just got to cook the food.
Yep.
Yeah,
absolutely. What do you, this will come out after New Year's, like right after, right? I forget is it actually coming out on like the 2nd or is it?
The 2nd, yeah, I think.
Okay. So right after New Year's, but what, I feel like we should talk about that.
Yeah.
I feel like I do something different every year for New Year's. Some years I
talking about like what party you go to.
Yeah. Looking forward to the keg stand that I'm doing later. But I mean, like some years I'll be in bed by 10 p.m. Other years I'll stay up or go out with friends or be at some friend's house or something. But it's tough to get my mind to think about the new year right now.
In like its totality, or what do you mean?
Yeah, in its totality.
Like that season.
I feel like I'm still so focused on wrapping up 2022 and just finishing a couple projects, where one of my goals going into the holiday season, I feel like I have this intention every year, is to slow down and reflect. And I have been able to do that a few instances. I just think that there's more that I still need to slow down and be grateful for and like reflect on. But shifting out of that and then looking forward at 2023 and like all that entails kind of seems like massive in one respect, but also it's like I'm not really doing a whole lot of different, like I don't have any massive changes. I'm not moving, like, it's just another day in January when the first comes. But
yeah, and we're not like a self-help podcast, but I think we're thinking through the same things that you guys probably are as the new year approaches. Like, one of the questions that comes to my brain is, do I set a resolution?
Mm-hmm.
Do I set a goal? just so I fail?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very common to feel pressure to set a goal for the new year. I think that's a good thing. I think it's good to think about a direction that you're headed in.
Yeah. And I think that's why I think that's why I personally feel the pull to do that, because it's the time of almost analyzing, taking stock of where you've been at, and then setting goals on the other side of that and being like, what do I want to improve on? What do I want to get better at? I think that's the culture of the new year.
Yeah.
At least in part.
Yeah. I think my encouragement to myself and you and to others, it would be to maybe set goals that are easily attained. Because I think that the scary thing with it is we set these goals that are like massive, huge, and in some sense you want to like, it's called like dreamscape, or like set goals that are like really challenging, and like that could maybe like even open your brain to the idea of a success that's bigger than you could imagine.
Right.
But you'll be discouraged if you don't get it, if that's what you're basing success off of. So like, for instance, the gym is a very common New Year's resolution. Amanda and I just got a membership again, because we normally work out outside and it's cold.
Where are you guys going? What gym?
Bleep. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to Fitness 19. So,
not a sponsor.
Yeah, it's just
cheaper than the Y.
Cheaper than the Y
and MVP.
A little more than Planet Fitness. Nice. But it's close to our house. Honestly, that's the main reason. And there's nothing fancy, which we kind of like.
Gets the job done.
Yeah, show up. There's 24-hour access, which is cool.
That's huge. Is it a chain? Do they have multiple?
Yeah, it's a franchise. So there's a bunch around. But anyway, so we've been going or trying to go every other day and doing decent because Amanda's great. Not because of me. And but we're, like, showing up is the battle, right? Like this isn't a new message for us, but
for sure.
I guess I would encourage, like, if you're really struggling with like finding motivation for goals or hitting motivation, start with something that is like attainable, which is like set a goal about showing up instead of a goal about performance. Like because you can track, and this is actually a sales technique as well. You can track how many people you contact to make a sale. You can track how many times you show up to the gym. It's very hard to track productivity once you're there.
It's like CRM.
It's like, it's exactly, it's like, focusing on leading factors versus lagging factors.
Sure.
So when you're focusing on lagging factors, you don't know what actually led you to that point. It's hard to actually see like
the through line.
So if you track leading factors, then you can say, okay, so then
you connect the dots.
That resulted this. So how do I shift that leading factor to produce a better result?
Sure.
It's less results focused and more discipline focused, and like everybody can show up, and that takes the pressure off to perform. So
I think about even my personal like YouTube goals. That like my goal is to eventually reach 1,000 subscribers, and I would like to do that within the time frame of a year, starting this past summer. But I have since, like when I made that goal, I broke it down into, I want to hit 50 subscribers by this point, and I want to hit 100 subscribers by this point. And that's still more of a lagging factor, but it broke it down, because going from 1,000, that seems impossible. And then it's like, 50. And I've hit 50. I'm at like 68 right now. And now it's like, I just got to get to 100. And then that doesn't seem so bad. Like I need like 32 more,
Yeah. And that's definitely helpful. I think another, critique I would have in terms of focusing on the result, like which would be 100 subscribers, is then once you hit that, you feel empty about
for sure
what the next goal is, because it's
Absolutely.
like, I got there, but now I'm like, okay, now it's 200 or 500 or whatever.
Just chasing numbers.
And then once it's 1 million, it's 5 million, right? And I've heard some big YouTubers talk about that, where it's like they've just tunneled on this, and then they get there, and that's why so many people that are successful and tunneling on a result get there and feel empty,
right?
Versus when you tunnel on how you want your life to be, what you want your life to be like,
the lifestyle,
and then the results handle themselves. You can find contentment at 950 subscribers. Not to say you shouldn't push for 1,000, but you're not gonna want to like not be yourself. Like I don't know. Like I think that that's a healthier mindset to look at it. Not to say that it's bad to break down your results, analyze your results.
Yeah.
But us as driven, motivated, success motivated people, that's the reminder I have to give myself, because if I hit 1,000 or if I hit 950, like then I look at myself in the mirror and I look at myself differently, or
right.
I
then
put
it's
the
an
blinders
identity
on.
thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's different. Not to say you're putting your identity in that, but it's easier to when you're so focused on a result.
Absolutely. And it's kind of like I am interested to give YouTube a shot for a whole year and really grind on it even more so than I already have been, in trying to reach 1,000 subscribers. And that is it's not just because 1,000 is like a nice number. It's because that unlocks monetization for videos. And then, because in my mind, I'm not even out to like get 1 million subscribers. I'm more so focused on that of unlocking monetization. And it just happens that in order to do that, I have to hit like a certain number. But then beyond that, it's kind of like, okay, I've hit monetization. Of course, I'd love to grow it, but
what?
Yeah, it's kind of like, I just want to continue to make videos that help people. And I remember sharing that with you of like, if I'm going to do this, I'm not going to be in it for the money. I'm not going to be in it for anything other than bringing value to people, sharing what I love to do, and hopefully allowing that to sustain some part of my life by having income. Not the greedy side of just wanting to be massive. Like I'm not out to be a Mr. Beast.
Well, to continue to do it, right? To continue to be able to prioritize
Sustain it
when you have to pay bills, right? And that's again why like the Quickwater sponsorship for us too is so helpful. It's like our motivation from the beginning wasn't like, let's just get sponsored. It was like something that happened naturally. Our goal was So like we weren't results focused when we did the podcast, and
No.
it's made it enjoyable because we're like, we're just going to do it every other week.
Right. Regardless of how many people show up and watch and listen.
If we have 5 listens, great.
Yeah.
We're going to do it and we're going to see what happens. And then you can adjust once you do it.
Yeah.
Once you have a year of metrics, now you can look at it and actually analyze
and push it
what's
and
going
tweak
on.
it and massage it. That's the biggest thing that I try to tell even like clients that I'm making a website for this and the other thing, and I get it because I'm the same way. Like I'm a perfectionist. I want everything to be so dialed and so locked in before I do anything. But the better way is to just make the snowball and push it down the hill and just start and just do so. Like we could have waited until we had video all figured out to do the podcast, period, like full stop, or different mics or like whatever. But we took what we had. We knew that it was attainable with the resources that we had, or just buying a few little other things. And we just started. And now that we do have a whole year, now it's like, hey, what else can we add on? We can add on video. We can see about getting a sponsor. We can do that. And it was all because we took the initiative to just start.
To just try it.
Exactly. And then after you have the snowball and it begins to build, then you can shape it. And then maybe it looks like a snowman.
The heart of this too, guys. Hopefully this isn't annoying us talking about the podcast like this, but this is just our frame of reference, right? Like we're not trying to say that you should all go try and start a podcast. If you want to, do it.
Absolutely.
But it's just our frame of reference for like what we have going on. So this could look totally different depending on what your field is. If there's something just that's like you're itching to do, we've encouraged you, just try it. Yeah. Just start doing it. Set something that's attainable. Maybe that's a fitness goal. Maybe that's an artistic goal. Maybe that's a financial goal. I would encourage you to focus on leading factors instead of lagging factors. But I'm not a life coach.
Is that from a book? Did you read that from a book?
I learned that. When I at College Works.
Okay.
It's door-to-door sales for painting.
Yeah. Nice.
My first company.
Nice.
And they, the training they gave us was you can't control how many people say yes, but you can control how many doors you knock on. And so focus on what you can control. They would they wouldn't say like, so how many people said yes on an estimate? They say, how many doors did you knock on this weekend? And then from there, you have a basis to like look at success rates. Right. Okay, so you've knocked in a bunch.
And the ratio of people that responded.
So then what you do is you say, was I knocking in the right doors?
Sure.
Was I saying the right things once I knocked on the right doors? Then you can start to tweak it. But you have to knock on doors before you can actually learn from that in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
This analogy keeps going.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
But yeah, I think that would be my ultimate encouragement. I think that spills into my personal life. I do tend to be that way where I want to have it all perfect before I release it to the world. Musically, guys, like we're working on a new song for Circle East, and
pumped.
Yeah, and it's shaping out, but like, I'm trying to
still kind of do this with it.
It's difficult because you want it to be as good as you can put out, right? Like you want it to be as high of a standard that you can get it, but at the same time, you need to put out music if you're going to put out music.
I almost feel like that is like, that is the definition of art, is calling something done. Like, I'm not a professor on like high art or anything, but like,
tell me, Jeffrey,
to be able to like do that, it's a part of the creative process. It's what every person has to do, regardless of what medium. Like you have to call it done. And of course, like in 5 years, you're going to look back and be like, I could have done that better. Like that's natural. And
you should be able to do that.
Exactly.
If you're growing.
If you're continuously progressing and didn't just retire and call it quits. But yeah, I like the more that I think about that, the more I think about the idea that like art is when you are able to make the decision regardless almost of what you think about it or what it could, because you just get stuck in your own personal feedback loop.
So you can make another piece.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And like
and take in other information and apply it differently and grow and learn.
Yeah. And I think like with a grain of salt in terms of like, if you're not happy with it, do it again, but don't take too long. Or put it on the shelf and do another project. Like it definitely is highly situational.
Mhm.
But for me, what will happen is I'm like, oh, I got to redo that vocal line. And then I won't put a time on my calendar to redo the vocal line. And then 3 months go by, and the thing that's holding up the song is one little vocal inflection that I felt like I could do better. And
Yeah.
that's not helpful.
That stops the train for the whole thing.
But if it's something that I'm like, oh, I got to get in there and do that, and like, oh, I could probably fit in an hour tomorrow to like jump in and like punch that in.
Yeah.
Then it's done. And then like, I tried it. And then maybe sometimes what happens is you think you can do it better and then you can't. And then you just like, whatever.
Live with it. Yeah.
So I got to practice what I preach to the artists that I work with and produce. Cause sometimes I'm like, you know what? That sounds as good as I think you've done it. And I think with a little bit of compression or whatever, the vocal magic I'm doing on that it'll be great.
Yeah. And I think it's,
and you hear the flaws
exactly.
differently
That's what
than
I was
other
just gonna
people
say.
too.
Like, it's a little tongue in cheek, but like that's, again, like that's shows that it's human. It's not just a robot like making. It's not AI generated art. Like it's an actual human that has vocal cords that get strained, that are tired. That
Yeah.
If it's not distracting and if it's not appalling, and you're on pitch, and you're that's take that analogy and run with it. But it's like live with the imperfections. It's like I would never make a YouTube video if I had that mindset, because I'd be so self-conscious about how I looked and how I sounded. And even right now, like I'm mildly self-conscious about my voice right now, but here we are, Monday, 8:46 a.m. rolling on stuff, because at the end of the day, that's not even what it's about. And really it's not a showstopper. So
yeah, and I think peace with your best effort is another thing that I think that is helpful, because your best effort might not look like someone else's best effort, and we always compare, and that can be helpful as an artist, but it can also be like detrimental.
Yeah.
So like our best effort is to show up and have a conversation. Like it's the best we can today.
Yeah.
Like we're showing up and giving our best effort. We've done that for the last year. It's funny because you could probably, and maybe this is actually like something that you guys don't even realize, but you can hear our voices wake up throughout the episode. You can hear us wake up throughout the day because we get going early. We got the coffee going. But that might be a natural progression for how you guys even consume the podcast, where you get into it and it starts slower and then it ramps into it and you're waking up with us. I don't know. I don't even think most people listen when it launches, but
it's like a tube amp.
Got to turn it on and wait a little. But I think that that's sometimes more perceived when you sit there and scrub through like the first 4 minutes of the episode.
You can see the contrast.
Yeah,
for sure.
to like
40 minutes in
to the last part. So no one's scrubbing and like figuring that out.
And if you are, stop. I'm kidding.
Keep doing it. Whatever. We don't care. You're just giving us better metrics.
Yeah. I will say too. It just left. Oh, it's back. I feel like this could really be encouraging to someone. And you alluded to this, and this is something I have learned and I'm still learning, but we as humans have different capacities, relative to one another. I was talking to,
we are not all the same.
Exactly.
We are not all equal.
I think about the example of you and Amanda, actually, where Amanda needs like 8 hours of sleep, and you can roll on 4 hours of sleep.
She needs 9.
Yeah.
And
if she isn't, it's like you've said this, these are your words. She's like a different
put it on me.
She's like a different person. And I completely understand that. But that's like such a easy example. But especially when it comes to work or career or putting in effort, like we all have different capacities. Like if you're the type of person that can work a 14-hour day editing on your computer, like come talk to me, because I would love to like learn from you and figure out how in the world you do that. But I can't. But I also know that if I do, like, as I have learned my workflow, I can do little sprints and still get all the work done that needs to get done. It just looks differently. And my day-to-day capacity is different than someone else. And I cannot afford to get caught up in that comparison to other people, because I'm always going to be looking at, I have work that because of my freelance position right now, I can be working until 2 a.m. If I could work all night if I wanted to on current projects that I have right now, but I'm not going to, because I know that my capacity is I need 6 to 8 hours of sleep. Like I am not going to sacrifice that, especially something that corresponds to my health in such a great way, but, I don't know if that is you and you're trying to figure that out, like give yourself the grace and the freedom to learn what your capacity is without comparing yourself to someone else's capacity.
This is a beautiful thing. And I think we talked about this even within the church, but this is also just a beautiful thing within community, because when you stop comparing yourself, well, you can compare yourself to other people. You just can't equate the differences that you see as a value proposition.
Mm-hmm.
It's
identity.
It's not value. It's not identity. It's just different strengths, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually advantageous for you to look for your weaknesses, look for other people who are strong in those areas, and surround yourself with those people, because they will pick up on your weaknesses and you will pick up on their weaknesses, or you will pick up the slack for their weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
Probably a better way to say it.
Yeah.
For instance, the fact that I can get up a little earlier and be totally fine,
mm-hmm.
like that's not a slight at Amanda.
Mm-hmm.
She just needs her sleep, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so many other areas that she's more like inclined to perform higher at than I am.
Mm-hmm.
And so the joy of marriage is we can rely on each other at different times.
Right.
I'm really bad at like meal prep, at thinking about dinner, and she's always on it. And like it's just something that I'm perpetually like, she needs to tell me 10 times if something needs to be in the oven at a certain time.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm like, hey, we got to be done by this time for dinner. Like, I'm just bad at it, but she's just on top of it. And she remembers, like, I'll tell her my schedule and she'll remember like when stuff is on my schedule. I can't even remember it. So I have a calendar. I rely on my calendar to do that. But like, there's just certain things that like she's stronger at than I am, that she's more in tune with than I am. And it's not a slight at like who's better or worse. In fact, it's a joy in life to just recognize, you know what? I'm not perfect. You know what? I suck at that. Maybe I can improve on those things if they're really valuable and something that's maybe causing pain to people around me. Otherwise, why don't I just focus on and put myself in position of things that my strengths are actually being capitalized on?
Right.
And that's generally a more effective way to produce, like, I don't want to say happiness, but like contentment, because you know that like, you know what, I'm doing what I'm best at, I guess, and I'm doing what I can. I'm again not focusing on that lagging result, but just putting in the work ahead of time. But like you said, the comparison game, especially as an artist, you compare yourself like I like John Foreman. I compare myself to like the dude who's been in the music industry since he was like 15,
his
and
whole life,
he's like, I don't know, 45, 50 now probably. And like
world
has
tours.
10 albums and world tours and like all these things. And I'm like comparing myself to the way that he can sing or the way that he can play. And that's good because I'm inspired in some ways, but I haven't even put out an album. So I've helped people put out albums.
Right.
So that's maybe a part of it, but I haven't like creatively as an artist myself done that. So, you know,
it's humbling.
Why should I be like putting my first project up against his? He probably does not like Ode to Chin, their first album. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, like Chem 6A, still a jam for me. There's a lot of really good songs on that album, and he, you know, it's a rock trio, and it's like 90s, and it's basic. The arrangements are basic. They had a lot of cool like time changes, but they were told no by the first record exec that listened. They said there's no hits on this, and like they just were like, okay, I guess we just got to keep doing what we can, and maybe somebody will like it. And so I don't know. We're getting a little.
For sure.
The train keeps going, but this spills into everything that you're doing.
Well, and I think too, like, I think that's a great example because I think it alludes to the idea that when we get so passionate about our craft and what we love to do, it's very easy to slip into that comparison at the same time as putting the blinders on and almost losing touch with where you are, like as an individual, where it's like, and that's why I said humbling, because it's like, it's a reality check to be like, I would love to be there, but back the bus up. Like I'm not like at all. I have years of difference. I have years of production and creating things that he
Or
has
showing
and I
up.
don't have. Yeah.
He showed
exactly.
up. He's written hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of songs.
Right,
I
right.
think probably in the thousands by now.
Right.
He's very open about how he writes a ton.
Mm-hmm.
So I've tried to write how many songs? Like maybe 20,
Right.
25.
Right.
So get over myself a little
Right.
and write more. Stop feeling sorry for myself and just go to work. He calls it digging. Songwriting is like digging. He's like, you just show up and dig. And he's like, sometimes you like uncover, he says, a hidden city.
Oh, nice.
And he's like, and it feels like you didn't even write it because you just found it. He's like, it's more of a discovery.
Yeah. That's cool.
But sometimes you feel like you're taking something that's like a mediocre discovery and like doing your best with it. And it's like, this is what we got right now.
Yeah, that's good.
But yeah, I think that's a really good framework for the new year, guys. I think just thinking about, this isn't like such a self-help like 10 tips to take away. It's just more of a framework of mind, of a general attitude to approach your life with. Obviously there's the humility to know and to look for things that you're weak in. The discernment to understand if that's something that needs your focus. I don't need to become a good accountant, but I can appreciate that my accountant is good at what they do.
Right.
Yep. And I can take with a grain of salt the skills of others and admire them from afar and recognize I don't have any business doing that myself, but I do want to support that and appreciate their talents,
and
like an artist.
Yeah, and if it's a working environment, if it's a team, that's how you build a strong, efficient team.
Exactly.
Getting other people whose strengths are different than yours.
Specifically in leadership, everybody's had that like manager that's been insecure about their strengths and like oppresses the people underneath them. A good leader takes the people on their team and puts them in a position where their strengths shine. And that creates a strong team, right? The quarterback can throw 75 yards, but he's not going to get on the D line and sack, get past the tackle. Like what makes an effective team is everybody pulling their weight effectively in what they're strong at.
Right.
And then when you put it together, it's like rock solid because you aren't highlighting people's weaknesses.
Yeah.
They're covering each other.
Yeah,
so
that's good.
If you're in leadership, if you're a team member, if you're feeling like everybody's a team member, whether they recognize it or not, even if you're a freelancer, you're a team member for the companies you're working for, you're a team member for your community around you, your church, your family, your significant others, everybody you're around. We're all in community together. We're not designed to be individuals. We're not actually designed to be solely individuals. That's such a healthy thing to approach.
Yeah.
I think especially in leadership.
For sure.
I heard once it said like CEOs are doing their job best when they're hiring people who are capable of taking their job.
Yeah.
It's like the openness of like, you know what? I'm going to hire the best people possible and not take into account the fact that they are threatening to me because they are capable. I want to surround myself with capable people that drive me to push myself.
That also shows like good heart posture too, because if they're willing to do that, it shows that they genuinely want best for the business. They want the best for their employees, more like they are stewarding others' best intentions ahead of their own if they come with that heart posture instead of like, no, I'm only going to hire the people that allow me to remain top dog amongst everything else. Like that's a completely different selfish, greedy heart posture.
And then that also establishes trust.
Yeah.
Because you can look at that leader and say, you know what? I trust them that they're not making this decision because they want to be selfish. They're making this decision because they think it's best for everybody.
Right.
So anyways, we're going down the rabbit trail.
Yeah.
Coffee's about gone.
Mine is gone. Here, you can see. Took my last sip a little bit ago. Oh.
I'm not going to do that, but mine's gone too.
Yep. Here we are.
Thank you guys again for just being with us on this journey.
Season 2.
This is a bit of an intro. we'll be dropping in some little nuggets, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we're just so thankful. We want to, we had a episode last week about gratitude,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that heart posture is just spilling into the new year.
Absolutely. Hope you guys had a great Christmas.
Yeah.
Hope you guys had a great New Year. Thanks for coming along with us. We're excited to continue to do this, to sustainably do this at the hand of Quickwater, as well as ourselves swinging the hammer and showing up bright and early Monday mornings to be able to do this. But follow us on Instagram, uig.podcast, YouTube, uig.podcast as well. Email us, uig.podcast@gmail.com. Look at us. Look at us. Our SEO is just going to go through the roof.
Rate us as well I don't want to say, like, you're welcome to not like our podcast, but don't rate us if you don't. If you like our podcast, rate us. No, that does help, like, in terms of just new people getting a hold of us on the platforms and stuff. If you are a listener and you have been listening and you haven't at this point, just feel free to just throw us a like or a rating or whatever the platform has. That does help us over time. We're not so concerned with the metrics and like 50, ratings or whatever. Where I don't know even what we're at right now, but we do appreciate that. And if you made it this far, then maybe we've earned it. Oof.
Got him.
We've entertained you for however long this podcast is. So. Anyways, guys, thank you so much. We're looking forward to the conversations that season 2 will bring, the guests that will bring on, what God will be doing. And we're just ready. Record time? Dude, we almost forgot, dude.
Oh my gosh.
I just saved the day.
I'm going to start a season 1 record time playlist is updated, so you can go check that out. But I think we should start a new one for season 2 with a different cover.
It's getting long.
But
also, I feel like we could add just like one song sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
That's part of the rules.
Yeah. Or we agree on one album together. I am going to recommend, you may have actually recommended this in season 1, but Home by, I'm totally spacing.
Mike Maines.
Yeah, Mike Maines. You've talked about it before, and Mike personally, but I was like, I need to listen to that because I just haven't, and it is so awesome. It's not for everyone, but it's, as someone who likes that like pop punk guitar,
it's a little grungy.
It's grungy. His vocals are like,
it's an older album
hot
too.
And screaming. Yeah, it's mixed and produced like
emo.
Yeah, but it's so good, and I love
alternative emo, not like punk.
Yeah, it's not screaming. It's
melodic.
Yeah,
that's why we enjoy it.
It's melodic. It's intentional. But the way that he writes is very heady, and you can listen to a song over and over and over and over again. I feel like
and get new stuff.
Yeah, out of it, and it's so awesome.
Yeah. Mike is a phenomenal lyricist.
Yes, absolutely.
He's been a mentor to me in songwriting, and he just the way that he approaches his craft and showing up. Maybe I'll just say that we want to have him on. Hopefully, like, I don't know what the result of that would be, but yeah, we just really admire him and his work, and that would be amazing to kind of hear his positions on stuff. So he's from Ludington, from Michigan, now in Nashville, but good
Home by Mike Maines.
Good album. I think I recommended his newer album, so that's good.
Yeah.
The one that me and Amanda were listening to, 2022, Ben Rector.
Hey.
The Joy of Music. He's got Snoop Dogg on it, Kenny G.
Oh my gosh.
It was a bop. I haven't honestly spent intimate time with it. It's just something that we had playing, and it was just, Ben Rector's dancey, melodic, fun, lighthearted,
soft.
Some of these songs. One of them, Daughter, is really good. It's about how it's about spending time with like his daughter, and that one specifically is really cool. Sunday feat Snoop Dogg, it's fun. I was listening to it and I was like, is that Snoop Dogg? And then after he rapped, he's like Snoop Double G or Snoop D-O double G at the end, and I was like, yeah, that's Snoop Dogg. Like, I just wasn't expecting it because it was just playing through the album.
Collab is like, what?
Amazing. So yeah, check that out. We'll add both of those to the UIG season 2 record time playlist.
Yes. Yep.
And
Love it.
we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you guys for joining us as always.
Thank you.